My aunt said I'd look cute. Now I'm her pretty niece. My name is Alex. I'm an ordinary college student, introverted, curious, and someone who prefers the comfort of my own little world. But I have a secret, one that I've kept hidden for as long as I can remember. My fascination with crossdressing. It's not just a hobby, it's an escape, a form of self-expression, a part of me that I rarely let anyone see. Most of my days are routine, lectures, a part-time job, and casual hangouts with friends. But at home, my world is completely different. My closet holds neatly arranged dresses, makeup kits, and high heels, each item a key to a side of me I rarely share. Every outfit represents a new persona, a boost of confidence, and a thrill I can't get anywhere else. Today seemed like any other, until my Aunt Clara's unexpected visit threatened to turn my carefully controlled life upside down. Aunt Clara has always been eccentric, warm but teasing, expressive in ways that make everyone around her feel both delighted and slightly uncomfortable. One day, she casually said, "Alex, you'd look so cute in dresses, you should try it sometime." I had just smiled awkwardly, dismissing it as one of her teasing comments. But that little suggestion ignited something in me, a curiosity that had been simmering beneath the surface, one I had never allowed myself to fully explore. Then there's Emma, my girlfriend. She knows a bit about my secret, but only enough to tease me without ever pushing me completely. Our relationship is affectionate and intimate, but this secret adds tension. I constantly wonder, if she truly saw me in my cross-dressing persona, how would she react? Would she laugh, be supportive, or judge me? That mix of fear and excitement has always made my private moments feel even more intense. That afternoon, Aunt Clara's voice echoed through the living room. "Alex, come here, I got something to show you." I followed, curiosity piqued but nerves fluttering. On the table lay a selection of bright, playful dresses, ribbons, and sparkling accessories. "I found these at the thrift shop today," she said, eyes twinkling. "I just knew you'd look adorable in them." My pulse quickened. The thrill of possibility, the fear of exposure, and the excitement of transformation all collided in that single moment. I hesitated, glancing at the door as if expecting Emma to appear. The idea of being seen like this, even by family, sent a shiver down my spine. Yet a part of me, a part one rarely admit, longed to try it, to step into this playful, feminine persona and explore how it felt to fully transform. Aunt Clara's gentle encouragement made the idea harder to resist. I took a deep breath and picked up a soft, pastel dress, the fabric sliding through my fingers like silk. My reflection in the mirror across the room caught my eye. Just a glimpse of me in this outfit made my stomach twist with both nervousness and anticipation. I knew that what I was about to do could change the way I saw myself, at least for today. Little did I know, this playful exploration would not remain just a private experiment. Tonight, with Aunt Clara insisting on seeing the full look and my own curiosity taking over, I would step into a version of myself I had only dreamed about. A version that could walk, talk, and feel like her, like a pretty, delicate niece in her aunt's playful vision. The stage was set. The dresses lay before me, the heels whispered promises of elegance, and the makeup kits beckoned like treasures. With each piece I picked up, the excitement and anxiety grew, a tightrope between exhilaration and fear. Emma's presence lingered in my mind, a constant reminder that secrets, once revealed, are never easy to control. And so, with trembling hands and a racing heart, I decided to try. To step fully into this new persona. To see what it felt like to be her, my aunt's pretty niece, for just one unforgettable night. The first thing I noticed as I held the pastel dress was how delicate it felt against my fingers. The fabric was soft, almost teasing me, whispering promises of elegance I had only imagined. My mind raced. Can I really do this? What if Aunt Clara laughs at me? What if Emma finds out? Every fear tangled with my curiosity, making my heartbeat thunder in my chest. I slipped the dress over my shoulders, the fabric brushing against my skin in a way that sent shivers down my spine. It was strange, An unfamiliar vulnerability mingled with a surprising rush of excitement. I wasn't just wearing a dress. I was stepping into an entirely new version of myself, one that I'd kept hidden for too long. Aunt Clara clapped her hands softly from across the room, her eyes shining with encouragement. Alex, try a pair of heels too. You'll see how much taller and confident you feel. My gaze fell on the shiny black heels lying neatly beside the dress. My stomach tightened. Walking in heels had always been challenging, but the idea of doing it fully dressed, in front of her, made the stakes higher. I slid my feet into the heels, gripping the back of the couch for balance. The world shifted slightly, literally. My center of gravity felt unfamiliar, every step deliberate, every movement cautious. But with each wobble I corrected, I began to feel powerful in a delicate way. There was a rhythm to it, a strange harmony between fear and grace that made me catch my own reflection and marvel at what I saw. Aunt Clara's voice brought me back. Look at you, already walking better than I imagined. Her praise sent a mix of pride and embarrassment flooding through me. My cheeks warmed, but I couldn't help smiling. I felt a spark of something I hadn't allowed myself before, confidence born from fully embracing this hidden side of me. Then came the makeup. I picked up a soft blush, carefully dabbing it onto my cheeks. Each stroke transformed me further, not just in appearance, but in sensation. The mirror reflected not just Alex, the college student, but Alex as her aunt's pretty niece, delicate and radiant, yet trembling with the thrill of exposure. I could almost feel the persona settling into my bones, filling my movements with new poise. Yet every brushstroke also reminded me of the stakes. What if Emma sees? What if someone else comes in unexpectedly? The fear of being caught clashed with the intoxicating thrill of my transformation. My heart raced faster, not just from the heels or the dress, but from the delicate balance between secrecy and expression. Aunt Clara's gentle laughter filled the room. You're a natural, Alex. I always knew you'd look perfect in dresses. Her words washed over me like warm sunlight, easing some of my tension while amplifying my excitement. It was surreal. Her encouragement made the transformation feel safe, yet the thrill of the forbidden lingered beneath every fiber of my being. As I practiced walking, turning and adjusting the dress, I realized something startling. I was enjoying this far more than I had expected. The fear, the excitement, and the vulnerability intertwined into an intoxicating cocktail of sensation and emotion. Every careful step in the heels, every brush of fabric against my skin, every flick of the blush on my cheeks brought me closer to fully inhabiting this new identity. But the suspense lingered. Aunt Clara could leave at any moment, Emma could arrive unexpectedly, or a neighbor could knock at the door. Every sound from outside made my pulse quicken. Each small slip or wobble threatened to expose the secret I had so carefully guarded. Yet, that risk only made the thrill sharper, the excitement more vivid, the emotional stakes higher. By the time I finished the first round of transformation, dress, heels, and subtle makeup, I could hardly recognize myself. The mirror reflected someone elegant, fragile, and undeniably captivating. Alex's hidden side had stepped fully into the light, and there was no turning back, not tonight. By now, the room felt charged with anticipation. Every flicker of light, every shadow on the wall, seemed to heighten my awareness of what I was doing. My reflection in the mirror no longer just showed Alex, it showed her, the delicate, pretty niece my aunt had envisioned. I could see it in the tilt of my head, the sway of my hips, the careful steps I took in the heels. But the thrill was tangled with anxiety. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like a warning. What if Emma came home earlier than expected? Or if a neighbor stopped by? My heart pounded with each imagined possibility. The fear of being caught clashed sharply with the exhilaration of being fully transformed, creating a strange, intoxicating tension. Aunt Clara watched me silently, her eyes sparkling with amusement and pride. You know, Alex, you're a natural at this. Just relax and enjoy it. Let yourself be her, she said, her voice soft yet insistent. I nodded, trying to absorb her encouragement while controlling the tremble in my hands. Each adjustment of the dress, each careful step in the heels, felt like a tiny act of bravery. I experimented with makeup more boldly this time: lip gloss, eyeliner, even a touch of mascara. With every brushstroke, I felt a deeper connection to this persona. My reflection smiled back at me, a confident, playful version of myself I had rarely allowed to exist. But the mirror also reminded me of the danger, the duality of Alex and her, coexisting in the same body, fragile and exhilarating at once. Then came the first challenge, walking around the house fully dressed and fully aware of the stakes. Each step required concentration, balancing poise with the subtle fear of stumbling. My chest tightened, my palms sweated, yet I couldn't stop smiling. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was psychological, emotional. I felt lighter, freer, yet more exposed than ever before. Suddenly, a sound from outside the room froze me in place, the faint jingle of a key in the front door. My pulse spiked. Emma? No, it was just the wind against the window, I told myself, but my body betrayed me with trembling legs. Aunt Clara noticed and whispered, "It's part of the thrill, isn't it? That little fear that makes everything more exciting." I nodded, realizing she understood in a way no one else could. I practiced posing, twirling slightly in the dress, feeling the fabric flow around my legs. Each motion brought an unexpected confidence. Yet, every reflection reminded me that this secret could be exposed in an instant. The adrenaline sharpened my senses, making every glance at the mirror, every flick of hair, every step in heels feel heightened and intense. By the time I finished exploring this first full transformation, I was breathless, not just from the physical effort of walking in heels or adjusting the dress, but from the overwhelming mixture of fear, excitement, and exhilaration. I had stepped fully into this persona, and the emotional stakes were higher than I had ever imagined. Aunt Clara clapped softly, her smile both approving and teasing. "You're beautiful, Alex. You really are. Just imagine what would happen if Emma ever saw you like this." My stomach flipped at the thought. That possibility lingered in my mind, a deliciously terrifying "what if" that made the night even more suspenseful. The room was silent now, except for my own breath. I stood in front of the mirror, fully transformed, aware of every movement, every sensation, every heartbeat. I knew that this was only the beginning. The dares, the transformation, the thrill of being caught, it was all escalating, building towards something far bigger than a simple experiment. The house had fallen silent, but the stillness did nothing to calm my nerves. Each step I took in heels felt amplified, echoing softly across the wooden floor. I was acutely aware of every sound, every creak, and every shadow. My transformation was complete. The dress hugged my form perfectly, the makeup enhanced my features subtly yet strikingly, and my hair framed my face in soft, feminine waves. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself, yet a part of me felt more authentic than ever. But the thrill was inseparable from fear. What if Emma walked in right now? What if Aunt Clara didn't leave when she said she would? The possibilities swirled in my mind like a storm, making my pulse race and my hands tremble. Every second spent in this persona was a risk, a delicate balancing act between exhilaration and exposure. I moved toward the living room, testing my balance and poise. My heels clicked against the floor, a sharp, deliberate sound that made me hyper-aware of the quiet around me. Aunt Clara sat nearby, pretending to read a magazine but watching me intently. Her presence was both reassuring and nerve-wracking. She encouraged me silently, but reminded me with every glance that I wasn't entirely alone, that every move was being observed. As I practiced walking, I couldn't help but notice the subtle shifts in my emotions. Fear mingled with excitement, embarrassment intertwined with pride. The sensation of the dress against my skin, the pressure of the heels beneath my feet, the brush of hair against my cheeks, all of it created a heightened sense of vulnerability. Yet, in that vulnerability, I found a strange liberation. I was fully visible, fully me, and yet hidden behind the guise of her, the persona Aunt Clara had playfully assigned me. Then came a sudden knock at the door. My heart leapt into my throat. Aunt Clara's eyes widened slightly, a silent warning. I froze, unsure if I should run to answer or pretend to be ordinary Alex. The knock echoed again, louder this time. Panic surged through me. Who could it be? Emma? A neighbor? Aunt Clara leaned over, whispering, "Relax. Just stay calm. Let's see who it is." I swallowed hard, every muscle in my body tense. With a deep breath, I tiptoed toward the door, each step a careful negotiation between poise and fear. My heels made me painfully aware of every movement, every potential slip. When I opened the door, relief and embarrassment collided. It was just a package delivery. But the rush of adrenaline didn't fade. In fact, it amplified the intensity of the night. I realized then that the suspense, the constant awareness of potential exposure, was part of the thrill. My transformation wasn't just physical, it was psychological, a full immersion into a persona that both excited and terrified me. Returning to the mirror, I examined myself again. The reflection stared back with a confidence I hadn't felt before, yet the underlying tension reminded me that danger could appear at any moment. This delicate balance between being caught and embracing the transformation was intoxicating. Every movement, every glance, every heartbeat became charged with meaning, building toward the inevitable climax of the night. By the time I settled back into the living room, fully aware of my own duality, I knew one thing. I couldn't undo this transformation. Not yet. The thrill, the fear, the exhilaration, they had intertwined into a force that demanded I continue, to explore how far I could go, and to face whatever consequences awaited. I thought the hardest part of the night was over, that the suspense of transforming and staying unnoticed had passed. But as I adjusted my dress in front of the mirror one last time, a sudden creak from the hallway made my heart stop. My pulse raced as my mind scrambled. Emma? Aunt Clara back already? The hallway light flickered, and I caught movement out of the corner of my eye. Someone was approaching the door to the living room. I froze mid-step, my heels making my usual confidence feel like a trap. Each click echoed in my ears as the figure drew closer. Panic clawed at me, but a strange thrill surged alongside it. My transformation had brought me this far. I couldn't retreat now. When the door opened, I expected confrontation. But instead, it was Jake, my cousin, grinning mischievously. "Thought I'd check in," he said, stepping inside without knocking properly. My stomach flipped. He wasn't supposed to be here tonight. Hi," I stammered, trying to sound casual. My voice felt too high, too delicate, too wrong, and the panic only worsened. Jake's eyes widened as he took in the full transformation. The dress, the heels, the makeup, it was all perfectly feminine. He blinked once, then laughed softly, leaning against the doorframe. "Wow. Didn't expect this from you, Alex. You look amazing, like a real princess." Heat surged through me, part embarrassment, part exhilaration. Every instinct screamed to hide, but his tone carried no judgment, only admiration and curiosity. Still, the danger of exposure burned in the back of my mind. Emma could walk in at any second. Aunt Clara could return unexpectedly. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Jake stepped closer, examining the details, the blush, the carefully lined eyes, the subtle gloss on my lips. "Seriously, you walk better than I expected to. Those heels are no joke." He smirked, clearly impressed. I could hardly meet his eyes, aware that each movement, each word, could betray the nervousness I was trying desperately to hide. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. My stomach dropped. Emma? Another neighbor? Another twist in the night's tense game? I felt paralyzed, caught between keeping calm and panicking entirely. Jake noticed my reaction and whispered, "Relax, it's probably just a delivery or something." But the suspense had already taken hold. I backed toward the mirror instinctively, clutching the hem of my dress. The reflection staring back at me seemed almost unreal. Alex, the real me, was now trapped in this persona, fully exposed, yet strangely empowered. Every detail of my transformation felt heightened. The shimmer of the dress, the delicate arch of my heels, the soft waves of my hair framing my face. The thrill of risk, combined with the undeniable beauty of the persona I had created, made my heart pound in a way I hadn't experienced before. Jake laughed softly again, sensing my tension. "You know," he said, "I never thought I'd see this side of you. And honestly, it suits you." His words sent a shiver down my spine. Half relief, half terror, half exhilaration. I couldn't separate the feelings. The stakes were higher than ever. Then, from the hallway, came the unmistakable sound of a key turning in the lock. My blood ran cold. Emma. She was home early. Every muscle in my body tensed, and I realized there was no room for mistakes. The night had reached a point of no return. I was caught between the thrill of my transformation and the looming threat of discovery. Underscore 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 underscore. The sound of Emma's key turning in the lock made my chest tighten. Every step, every movement in my heels suddenly felt heavier, more deliberate. I could feel the fabric of my dress cling to me in a way that reminded me of how exposed I truly was. Jake's presence, once a strange comfort, now amplified the tension. His knowing smirk only reminded me that I was on display, caught in a fragile balance between admiration and vulnerability. I took a shallow breath, trying to steady myself. She's home early?" I whispered, my voice cracking slightly. Jake's eyes flicked toward the hallway. "Relax," he said, but the calm in his tone did nothing to soothe the storm raging inside me. Every instinct screamed to run, hide, or somehow undo the transformation. But the allure of the persona I had become, the delicate, poised, feminine version of myself, was intoxicating. My reflection in the mirror reminded me of the thrill I felt earlier, the confidence I had embraced. Now, that confidence was being tested under the harshest conditions, imminent discovery. Emma's footsteps echoed from the hallway, drawing closer. My heart pounded so loudly, I was certain she could hear it. I clutched the hem of my dress, feeling the soft material slip through my fingers. Every sense was heightened. The scent of my perfume, the faint shimmer of makeup under the dim light, the delicate pressure of heels against the floor. I was hyper-aware of my dual existence, Alex and her, trapped together in the same body. Jake leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You've got this. Just stay calm." I nodded, but inside, panic surged. My body betrayed me with trembling legs, sweaty palms, and a rapid heartbeat. Every step I took toward the living room door felt like walking a tightrope over a pit of fire. One misstep, one sound, and it could all collapse. Suddenly, a creak behind me made me spin around. Aunt Clara had returned silently, standing in the doorway with a bemused smile. My heart skipped a beat. Now there were two witnesses to my full transformation. I felt heat rush to my cheeks, a mix of embarrassment, fear, and exhilaration. Emma's footsteps were even closer now. I could hear her humming softly, completely unaware of the scene awaiting her. Every instinct screamed to run, yet I couldn't move. The dress, the heels, the persona I had nurtured, it was all too captivating. I was frozen, poised, exposed. Jake stepped forward subtly, blocking my retreat. "No backing out now," he whispered, a teasing edge in his voice. I swallowed hard, feeling the tension coil tight in my chest. My mind raced through scenarios. What if Emma walked in this instant? What would I say? How could I explain this dual identity? Then, Emma's voice called from the hallway. "Alex, are you here?" My knees threatened to buckle. Every second stretched into eternity. I realized that this moment, the fear, the thrill, the complete immersion into my feminine persona, was the culmination of everything that night had built. It was the emotional and physical peak, the ultimate test of courage, poise, and secrecy. I adjusted my posture, lifted my chin, and took a deep breath. The heels dug into the floor as I embraced the persona fully, knowing that whatever happened next would define the limits of my transformation, my confidence, and my hidden desires. Emma's voice grew closer, each step echoing like a drumbeat against my racing heart. My reflection in the mirror caught my attention again. This wasn't just Alex anymore. This was someone else, someone transformed, someone daring. The dress clung perfectly. The heels elevated not just my height but my sense of presence, and my carefully applied makeup hid the nervous tremor in my features. Then it happened. A gust of wind from the slightly ajar window caught the edge of my dress, lifting it just enough to reveal a hint of lace from my slip. My stomach sank. Exposure was imminent. Every second stretched, my pulse threatening to betray me. I could feel the weight of the heels pressing down, the strain in my legs, the precarious balance of confidence and fear. Jake stepped closer, his hand subtly brushing against my arm, grounding me. "You've got this," he whispered, though his smirk betrayed excitement. My reflection stared back at me, two versions of myself coexisting in that single image: Alex, the nervous cousin, and the feminine persona I had embraced. The mirror became symbolic, reflecting the duality I was struggling to reconcile, the thrill and terror of the transformation intertwined. The key turned in the lock. Emma was home. My breath caught. My mind raced, every option, every escape, every possible reaction flashing like lightning. The sound of the door handle moving froze me in place. Then, in that suspended moment, I made a choice. I straightened my back, lifted my chin, and allowed the persona I had nurtured all night to fully emerge. The door swung open and Emma stepped in. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise and curiosity crossing her face. But she didn't speak immediately. She looked from me to Jake, then back to me, her gaze lingering on the dress, the heels, the subtle shimmer of makeup. I held her stare, feeling a mixture of fear, exhilaration, and pride. The room seemed to hold its breath. Every detail, the clicking of my heels, the swish of the dress, the soft glint of makeup, was amplified in that moment. It was a symbolic culmination of my journey, a test of courage, confidence, and the thrill of transformation. I realized that, for the first time, I wasn't hiding behind the persona. I was inhabiting it fully, letting it define the limits of who I could be in that moment. Emma finally broke the silence, her voice soft but questioning. "Alex, is that really you?" The words hung in the air like a delicate thread, bridging tension and anticipation. I opened my mouth, unsure what to say, my heart pounding faster than ever. The room was charged with uncertainty, excitement, and suspense. Every emotion I had felt that night, fear, exhilaration, embarrassment, liberation, converged into a single, electrifying instant. And then a sudden noise from upstairs. A shadow moved in the hallway. Both Jake and I turned toward it, and my heart skipped a beat. The climax was not over. The suspense, the danger, and the thrill still loomed. The shadow in the hallway froze me mid-step, my heels clicking softly against the wooden floor. Emma's gaze was fixed on me, her eyes wide with a mixture of shock and curiosity. Every heartbeat felt magnified, a drum of suspense echoing through my chest. I could feel the adrenaline surging through my veins, heightening every sense, the brush of fabric against my skin, the subtle shimmer of my makeup, the precarious pressure of my heels. Jake moved slightly, shielding me from immediate exposure, his presence both comforting and teasing. "Stay calm," he whispered, though even he seemed caught up in the tension. My mind raced through every possible scenario. If Emma stepped closer, if she asked too many questions, if she noticed something out of place, my secret could unravel in an instant. The hallway's shadow shifted again. I tensed, my breath catching in my throat. It was faint, subtle, but enough to send a chill down my spine. Who or what was moving? My eyes darted toward the hallway, straining to see in the dim light. Emma took a cautious step forward, still holding her gaze on me. I opened my mouth, ready to explain, to apologize, to confess, but no words came. My voice seemed trapped, swallowed by fear and anticipation. The persona I had embraced all night, the confident, poised, feminine version of myself, was now on trial. Every movement, every glance, every breath could betray me. Suddenly, the doorknob to the hallway turned slowly, accompanied by a soft creak. My heart leapt into my throat. Time seemed to stretch. The shadow moved closer, the source of tension now tangible, real, imminent. Jake's hand rested briefly on my arm, a silent reminder to stay composed. Emma's voice was barely a whisper, hesitant but curious. "Alex, what's going on?" Before I could answer, a loud thump came from upstairs. The sudden noise made us all jump. My heels dug into the floor as I instinctively shifted, the dress rustling softly. The room was thick with suspense, every detail amplified. The sheen of the dress, the arch of my heels, the glint of makeup catching the faint light. Jake leaned toward me, eyes wide. I think we have company," he murmured, nodding toward the staircase. My stomach dropped. Another obstacle, another twist, my carefully crafted transformation teetered on the edge of exposure. Every ounce of composure I had cultivated was being tested, every heartbeat charged with fear and exhilaration. Emma's expression shifted from curiosity to alarm. "Who else is here?" she asked, her voice tinged with confusion. I swallowed hard, struggling to keep my body steady, to maintain the balance of heels and dress that had taken so much effort to perfect. The hallway seemed to shrink, the air thick with tension. My reflection in the nearby mirror caught my eye again. Two versions of me stared back, Alex, trembling and fearful, and the persona I had created, bold and feminine. The duality was stark, impossible to ignore. The mirror became a silent witness to my struggle, a symbol of the precarious balance between desire and danger. Then, without warning, the footsteps from upstairs came closer. A shadow descended the staircase. My heart pounded in my ears. Emma and Jake froze alongside me. My body tensed, every muscle coiled like a spring. I was caught between the thrill of my transformation and the terror of being discovered. The figure emerged into view. I couldn't see clearly yet, but the presence was undeniable. My mind raced. Friend? Neighbor? Aunt Clara back early? The suspense was unbearable, every second stretching into an eternity. I glanced at Jake, who gave a subtle nod, silently telling me to stay composed. I adjusted my posture, lifted my chin, and tried to steady my breathing. The persona I had embraced all night, the poised, feminine Alex, was now on full display. There was no hiding, no retreat. Emma took another step forward, closer to me, her eyes locked onto mine. "Alex, what is happening right now?" I opened my mouth, ready to speak, but the shadow in the hallway took a step forward as well. The tension snapped like a live wire. Every heartbeat, every breath, every detail of the transformation, the dress, the heels, the makeup, was amplified in that instant. And then everything froze. The room held its breath. I held mine. The shadow paused at the threshold. Emma's gaze never wavered. Jake tensed beside me, and I realized, with a mix of fear and exhilaration, that this moment, this suspenseful, electrifying instant, was far from over. The story, the night, the transformation, they were all hanging by a thread. And with the unknown figure standing at the threshold, the secret I had nurtured, the persona I had embraced, and the thrill of being caught, all converged into one impossible, unresolved moment. The screen of the night seemed to fade to black, leaving viewers suspended in the tension, their hearts racing, wondering, who was the shadow? Would Alex be exposed? How would Emma react? And most importantly, how far would Alex embrace this persona in the face of danger?